Hey there, it's Kim from Not Consumed, and today we are talking about getting ready for back to school in your homeschool. I'm going to share with you how to get these awesome freebies, yes, and some tips and fun stuff and practical stuff. So I hope you'll stick around. Before we get started though, I would love for you to answer this question. When do you start back to school in your homeschool? So drop that answer in the comments for me, please. Again, when do you start back to school? And if you don't know, that's fine to say, we're not sure yet. That's cool because other people need to hear that they're not the only ones who haven't made that formal decision. We are actually starting back on August 16th, and so we have just a couple of weeks to get everything together, and I want you to know that I don't even have all of my curriculum ready to go, so don't feel bad if you're one of those people too. I want to tell you why we chose that date particularly, because it wraps around our co-op that we are doing. So I'm going to tell you today three things. We're going to talk about our favorite back to school tradition, how to get this cool freebie that I shared with you just a second ago. Here it is again, cool freebie, and how we transition back into school. So those are our three topics for today. So let me back up and start with our favorite tradition. So we started this a few years ago, and it has been absolutely the most fun we've ever had. And it's called, we call it Kids in Charge Week. And it's exactly what it sounds like. So we take an entire week before we go back to school. So for us, it's going to actually be the week after next. And each one of my kids gets a day that they are literally in charge. And what that means is they get to pick what we do that day. I give them a budget because my kids are a little bit older, and so they started picking really expensive things. So I give them a budget that they can work on, and then they get to plan what we do for the day. And it is so much fun, and we love this tradition. It's kind of like a staycation with a twist, and the kids have, a total blast. We have actually done Kids in Charge Week with $10 a day as our budget and had a blast, and we've done it with even more. So give your kids a budget and you'll be surprised. They're really fun things that they come up with that they can do for that. So that's our most favorite fun tradition. And then next is our cool freebie that I want to tell you about. So this is my back to school pack, and it has 7 pages, and it's just basically fun things to do as you transition back into school. So for us, I mentioned that we're starting back on August 16th, and that date wraps around our co-op because that's when the high school classes start for them. So what we do is we start back in a very gradual or a transitional kind of way. Instead of starting school like immediately and just, here's 25 subjects you have to do, and bam, you went from nothing to here you go back into this full-fledged school thing, we start very slowly. And so one of the things that we do to start very slowly is the first couple of days we do back to school stuff, just like they would do if they were in a school system. And so that's what this freebie is. So the first page is all about me. And it's just literally favorites and things that we record every year. We've been doing this now, I think, 3 or 4 years. And so the best thing that we get to do is I always bring out the old notebooks, and the kids look back at all of the things that they wrote last year and the year before and stuff like that. And even when they were younger and I was writing for them and they were saying things, and it's so cool to see like the things that are the same sometimes, and then the same things that have changed and morphed, and things like their favorite color used to be this and now it's that, and kids just love it, and I love it too. So this is the first thing we do. And then also part of the pack is 2 coloring sheets with Bible verses and things to talk about. This particular one is really important to us because I want to remind the kids as we're getting ready to start back to school that there are going to be some things that are harder than others, and give them the chance to voice that, maybe they're a little concerned about algebra, or they're a little concerned about something new that's happening this year, so that we can talk about how God gives us the strength to push through those hard things. Then There's another coloring sheet. This one is 1 Timothy 4:12, which is one of our favorite verses talking about, how we are to be, even as young people, an example. And so I love that, particularly going back into co-op. Because the kids are around other people and they can be an example there. The next page is goals. So we want to set goals personally, faith-wise, health, and homeschool related for the year. And again, my kids do this every year, so we always look back and it's fun to see, what they were working on. The older my kids have gotten, I've been amazed, even with 4th and 5th graders who have set some really awesome personal goals, like unsolicited, they want to have a quiet time every day or be more consistent with that, or something like that. So it's really fun to see what your kids want and what they say, but then also as parent, you get to be sitting there too and say, hey, have you thought about this, or do you want to consider this? And if you're doing it as a whole group, like you're all of your children together, then it doesn't seem like you're pointing out one child's particular faults or things that they need to work on. So that is always a plus. So that's a favorite sheet. And we might probably, it depends on the age of your kids and stuff. We might do that the same day. We might not. Then another favorite of my kids is the field trip planning form. And this form is exactly what it looks like. I want to know where they want to go and what they want to do for the year. Kids have great ideas, and sometimes as moms, we don't have the great ideas like they do. And so I want to get an idea from them, the kinds of things that they want to do this year. This is just a fun word search. And last but not least is our scavenger hunt. My kids love this every single year. They love doing it, and it's just really simple. And we just go through and find all the things and see, who can get the most in the fastest amount of time. So it's, real simple, like find something made of cloth or find something that tells about God or, whatever. So simple stuff. So the way you get the free pack is, and I forgot to stick it up there, you can go to notconsume.com/free, and it is totally free. You're going to get that pack plus about 70 other free printables if you click on the middle option, which is the Ultimate Homeschool Printable Pack. So that's how you get it for free. Now, after we do the first couple of days, oh, by the way, if you're just joining us, will you put in the comments when you start back to school? We'd love to know when you're planning to get started, even if you don't know for sure yet. Just tell us that. That's cool too. And let us know when you're going back to school. Back to the transition. So I mentioned that we transition back into homeschooling. We'll start with usually like a day or two, or maybe even 3 or 4, working on our goals and talking about, getting back into school with the free printable pack that I just mentioned. And then the next thing that we do is I like to start a subject and then kind of transition into more subjects. So for us, we almost always start math, and that is because I mentioned the high school math class starts on the 16th, and so when we go back for that, also my middle schoolers have to do math immediately then, even though they're not going to classes. And so it just kind of makes sense to start everybody on math, and it's also the one subject that sometimes we don't quite get all finished because there are so many lessons. So we start that, and sometimes we'll do that only math for like a week or two and just, kind of transition into that. And then usually by the time we get to Labor Day, so within 2 weeks, we've transitioned into all the subjects. So you might add one subject one day, add another the next day or whatever. If you have little kids, I get this question a lot, so I'll speak to that. If you have like, kindergarten, first graders, that kind of thing, you're not going to want, it might be a subject, that you're adding some subjects, but you don't have as many subjects with the little ones. So you would want to transition with time. So we're going to start with 5 or 10 minutes today. Let's add, 15, 20 minutes, and then kind of work your way up to how much time you're actually spending on school each day. So again, the free printable pack is yours to help you get started back to school. I hope you'll grab it at notconsume.com/free. I also hope you will put in the comments when you start back to school, because we would love to know about that. And I want you to know that I'm praying for you as you go back to school this year. I know that God has great things for all of us, and it's such a wonderful blessing and journey, and I'm glad that we are in it together. Have a great day today, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me.